one little girl's holiday spirit can tame the beast inside.
Oh,
Good
I don't.
Night, you suffer. That also sounds like it's the title to one of the erotica books we were just discussing.
So
yeah, that's upsetting.
I was literally gonna say, out of context for everybody else, because they didn't hear the first half of the conversation, deeply disturbing. I really don't like that at all. Leave the children out of it, okay?
Look, I'm just saying.
Children aren't taming anything, if you ask me.
It's time for a sequel to this movie, where this girl's, she'd be 32 years older now.
She's consenting now. It's fine.
Yeah, and now the monsters are back to repay the offer.
I hate it here. I hate it. No, it's done. I'm really upset now.
Yeah, it's been 32 years singing Silent Night. They got their voices back. Now it's time to party. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. It's the new tagline.
They got their voices back. It's time to party.
Yeah.
She reinstated their voices so that they can say the safety word.
Alright, this podcast is canceled. We're done.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, over.
It's been a good run, but this is
So
just
Jover.
too far. It's done.
This is episode 283 of I Hope You Suffer. I'm Nathan.
The last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Kit.
I am Katie.
This week we're talking about 1981's The Monsters Christmas. A movie I liked until a minute ago.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I discovered this movie on... It was very strange. I found it, I was like looking at just like lists on Letterboxd of just weird Christmas movies because we were trying to find like a third. And for like a minute I was just like, I don't know, I guess Santa with Muscles with Hulk Hogan. But then I didn't want to talk about Hulk Hogan. He's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Who should have been in Metallica, per his story.
sure.
Imagine
Got beat out.
Imagine him on stage instead of
like,
I don't know, Cliff Burton or whatever fucking instrument he was gonna play.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in what capacity was he saying he's supposed to be in it?
He tried out to play bass.
All the rest of them, like in their black and like misfit shirts, when they were just like weird young punk dudes, and him in his like fucking bright ass 80s colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found I came across this, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it's like this weird New Zealand like made for TV kids Christmas thing, but like full of weird fucking monsters that look somehow like a mix of like, I don't know, I guess like Labyrinth and Yo Gabba Gabba. They're very strange, and I was like, we should do this. It's also only 47 minutes.
Yeah, I did like that about it.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. But I came across it, and then literally last night was like catching up on Twitch of the Death Nerve episodes where they like randomly started talking about this movie. And I was like, oh, I guess that's a sign. So here we are talking about a movie I enjoyed that I feel like Kit didn't, maybe, and Katie maybe right in the middle. That's my guess.
Yeah, that was not my jam. The monsters look cool.
What about you, Katie?
I think fair. I liked the idea of the movie. That I love like made for TV movies or whatever, and I liked the idea behind it, but the execution was just like this is very much like for kids.
Yeah.
Like when you're watching it, it's like any other made specifically for kids show where like the scenes just randomly change like really fast, and there's not really like it's not really like continuous, really. Like it is because she's on a journey, but I feel like the scenes were just like so random. Like 1 minute she's knocked out, and the next minute she's like jumping around in a monster costume, and I was like, what? Like, so for children, yes, it's fine. For adults, it was like kind of jerky for me to watch. I was just like, why is she a nun now? And now the next scene she's not. But like, I enjoyed the idea of it, and I think like the actual logistics of making this movie to me blew my mind, because they're like very obviously filming in like the countryside. They're like actually in a cave, right? There's like a scene where the people are wearing the monster costumes and literally like falling down the side of a really steep hill.
I was dying because
actually,
somebody was like, "Hey, go run down that big like gravel hill," and they were like, "Okay."
All right, I guess.
And then they just all like immediately trip and just like fall.
Just fall.
They're literally just tumbling for hours, and so like the logistics of them actually filming it to me was really impressive. It's just like the scenes could have been more smooth, I think. But again, if it's for children, I think everything that happens makes sense because kids don't care, you know?
Well, like for me, I'm like, maybe like 4 years ago, I would have been like, I don't know, this is whatever. But like, I think doing all of these garbage like Christmas horror movies just really made it like where I was like, this is like refreshing that I'm not watching some bullshit where it's just like a dude dressed as Santa trying to stab people.
Yeah.
And like I'm always on board with like I said, like sort of that like 80s Labyrinth style just weirdness in a movie, and especially in like a kid's movie. So like I don't know, I had a good time watching it. Like the little girl's whatever in it, like she's you know, she's neither like good nor bad. Because she's like 7, so
yeah, just very obviously a small child. I will say, like, I didn't get Labyrinth vibes from it, but I did very much get Alice in Wonderland vibes.
Yeah,
which,
I mean, like it's just that, like, you know, like there's like weird,
strange,
like monsters,
a little
like
girl on
physical
a
monsters
journey.
or whatever. Like, it's I guess more of what I was saying with like Labyrinth, where there's just like, you know, like 10 something years later, all of these would just be like weird lawnmower man looking creatures instead of like actual physical things. So like I don't know, like I like a lot of these monsters, while like not as good as like the puppets Jim Henson did for Labyrinth, like I don't know, it just gave me that kind of vibe where you just like somebody like dealing with these like just weird creatures. And then
I don't know, looks the
Bowie
same to
showed
me.
up.
I wish the mole man had hung dong.
I'm kind of a little surprised he didn't, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty
He
sure
was
those-
flopping around.
He looked like he was ready to.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
literally.
those mud creatures 100% were.
You just couldn't tell.
Yeah, you don't know what a mud creature's dick looks like.
That's fair. Their heads kind of looked suspicious.
The evil lady really wanted the mole man.
Yeah, this witch has some issues.
Give it
she's
to me,
gotta
give it
work
to me,
out.
give it to me.
Give it to me.
Like
Terrible.
there's all like there's the scene where, like she's talking to the mud people, and then like the bubbling mud is like I don't know, spurting out words to her that felt very Labyrinth to me.
That's fair.
So like I don't know, that's like kind of like the vibe I was
Speaking
getting.
in riddles, mud speaking in riddles to a child.
Yeah, I was
Riddle
like,
mud.
this rocks. I'm way on board with this. This is better than It's a Wonderful Night for whatever other kind of dumbass bullshit we probably would have picked.
Yeah, I mean, it is different, to be fair. I didn't, like, the only thing about this movie that was Christmassy at all is that, like, the book that she's reading about the story is called A Monster's Christmas, and then, like, she has to be returned by Christmas morning or whatever. And, like, that's it. And I was like, well, they could have tied it more into Christmas for me, but, like, I don't know. At least it was something different, I guess.
I mean, as opposed to like, whatever that fucking weird Exorcist movie we did was with fucking Bill Moseley. That was just like, oh, it just happens to be on Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So,
And Christmas Twister, which
well,
again,
that was a banger. You got to see that dude get
I don't-
obliterated by like a fucking storage unit or whatever, one of those storage things, just
yeah,
smashed
that's
into
like
him.
pretty much the only thing I remember about the movie, except for the title card being misprinted. But I literally
always,
think about it all
always
the
a good
time.
sign.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of care.
Okay. This will not take long. This is probably gonna be a short episode, so sorry about it. But
Yeah, this is like it's a pretty like straightforward plot. That's just, but there are some pretty funny things that happen in this movie.
yeah. So, before we start, the monsters, nobody except for the evil Christmas witch in this movie has a name. So the little girl, I just call her Girl. And then the monsters I call by what they looked like.
Her name on Letterboxd is just Girl, and then it's Mountain
Yeah.
Monster, Insect Monster, and I think Mud Monsters. Somebody is named Nasty. I'm guessing maybe that's like the one that like works for the witch.
It's probably the mole. I called him Mole
Yeah.
because like at first I
Molesome.
thought he was like a rat mole, but then like his face is very moley. He was very athletic. Like I'm thinking the spin-off fanfic is featuring him because
Yeah,
he
Oh, yeah.
Did you see all his somersaults he did?
I don't know why, but like the fact that like the witch's lair in this fucking like volcano cave thing is just like workout equipment. It's just like a gym. There's like
Yeah.
gymnast bars, weights. She's got a weird fucking steam thing she gets in. Like I don't know why, but that's like it's very. I need backstory.
Yeah, it's very strange. Okay, so this movie starts with the song Silent Night playing. And
The
we get
worst
like a
song. It's just I fucking hate this song.
I feel like it is like the one that they pick a lot because it's like can be a little ominous. Like, I mean, it is. Like a lot of these, I think, can turn very quickly. But it's playing Silent Night. We've got like a home movie style POV of like outside the house and then through the window where the little girl is in her room reading. Where are her parents? It's just she's like reading a Christmas Eve book to herself that's called A Monster's Christmas. I will say like making and I don't know if this book is actually a real book, but I assumed they made it for the movie, and their dedication to making this fake book like really got me because it's like watercolor illustrations of the monsters in the book and everything, which I thought was really great.
I can't like I'm trying to like that's what I was actually looking at now is I can't tell if this is like an actual book that someone made a story for or if this is like a straight original thing. Because there's not a whole lot of information about
Right.
this. And, like, there's a bunch of other things with, like, Monster and Christmas in their titles or whatever that comes up when you Google it. But, like, I'm not seeing, like, anything about this being a real book, so I'm just gonna guess it's, like, something made up for the movie.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are literally so many monster Christmas books that are
Coming next year from Happy Suffer, the Monsters Christmas novelization.
Yeah. I'm on it.
yeah. Finish your T-Rex fishing thing and then monster Christmas book. I need that in my inbox stat kit. I'm your agent now.
All right. Deal.
Katie gets 95%.
Yeah.
That's 95 cents.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so yeah, she's reading this monster's Christmas book to herself. And we're basically getting the entire plot of the movie in this reading of A Monster's Christmas book, which is that a evil Christmas witch named Fistenduke. Sure.
Excuse me?
That's the first time I've heard
That was her name?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Maybe it's Fistenduke, not Fistenduke. Maybe, something's happening here. Fistenduke?
Yeah, someone's got their fist in Duke.
A Fist and Duke Christmas.
There's the spinoff.
Okay, I hate it here. This is terrible. Yeah, okay.
This is what happens when we record early in the day on an off day.
Look, I will
Weird
say,
energy.
I took an edible, like, I don't
On
know,
Jesus' day.
3-ish hours ago to go to sleep, so I'm
Yeah.
probably still high.
Yeah, her name is. I wrote Fist and Duke. I think that's her name.
I say
because
Letterboxd
the-
are like, I think it's just Witch, so.
Right, but the little girl specifically makes a comment about how it's an ugly name. So I was like, all right. She's an evil witch who stole all of the monsters' voices because the monsters used to like to sing Christmas carols, and Fist and Duke hated it, I guess. She stole their voices, and now the monsters are searching for somebody to say the magic word to get their voices back. The little girl, that's the story. The little girl falls asleep. She hears a noise in the other room and thinks that it's Father Christmas. She's New Zealand. She's from New Zealand. Well, that wasn't a New Zealand accent. I just am prefacing for the rest of the movie. I don't think I can do a New Zealand accent, to be very fair, and I'm not going to try. But she thinks it's Father Christmas. She goes into her living room where the Christmas tree is, and it's a monster. So this monster, this is like the main monster kind of. He looks kind of like a angler fish. He's got like an angler thing going
A
on.
little bit.
He looks kind of like he also kind of looks like a Christmas tree. And he has like a weird undulating sponge eyeball. And there's also smoke constantly coming from the top of his head like a volcano. And at one point it's like filling the entire, like, there's a point where they go into a cave and it's literally just like filling the whole cave. And I'm like, the logistics of what's going on with this monster, I want to know more. Like, I would be more interested in watching like a documentary or like a commentary on like what's going on here.
Yeah, like I like really like the design of, especially like this first monster, like, and I feel like it was probably like, because even like like we talked about that scene where they're like running down that hill and tripping and all that shit, he's still got smoke pouring out, which means like, you know, every time they went to shoot, they had to like fill it with, I don't know, dry ice or whatever the fuck it is that's like the smoke.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure it was like a fucking massive headache for this
whoever was in it.
tiny movie. So like, I don't know.
Yeah,
props.
crazy.
He looks very cool.
Yeah, he's not bad. So that's what he looks like. Anyways, like, he's in her living room and she immediately is like, "You don't scare me because you can't talk."
Yeah,
I would
fair.
still be scared
Nah.
if they couldn't talk. To
Yeah.
me. To be fair, they can't talk, but they can make noises. Like,
I mean,
you know,
sharks can't talk. They're pretty scary.
scary. So
You don't
yeah,
know that.
they
We
do.
just
Spiders.
can't understand them because they're underwater.
Spiders. I mean,
Guns. Guns can't talk.
Okay, so
I'm.
I'm looking at like an interview with
I thought it was-
the
With a gun?
yeah, with a shark about whether they can talk. And he said, "Don't worry about it." No.
The shark also had a gun.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
there's
hanging up. I'm
there's
hanging up.
there's some like blog or something that like interviewed the woman that directed this. And he asked, you know, it was written by Burton Silver, the popular cartoonist. Was it based on something he had already written, or did you seek him out specifically for this project? And she said, I had been working with Burton on spoof programs when I was working within TV New Zealand, I guess TV NZ. And we asked him to write an original piece for Children for Christmas, and this is what he wrote. So this is like an original thing.
All right.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
He's a cartoonist. Okay.
But what did the shark say?
The shark said, again, don't worry about it. You'll find out soon. Which then I closed the window.
What
The
does the
window.
shark say?
There you go.
Okay.
Wow. What a throwback. Now what you were saying earlier was making me now I'm just gonna like not be able to stop thinking of a weird like erotica titles like I married an AK-47, or my ex-husband
Is an
is a Glock.
AK-47
Yeah, or something. Yeah, something crazy like that.
taken by animatronic reindeers at Christmas? It's all kinds of. We got all kinds of books. Let's go. Fuck this podcast.
Yeah.
We're done.
I need you to put up a a poll. Should we make a shirt, a Fist and Duke Christmas? Just let me know. Okay. So
I say we just do it, and like nobody will have any idea.
terrible.
I just release it before this episode. People will be like, "What the fuck is this?"
I do kind of like Taken by Animatronic Reindeer at Christmas. I do like that one.
I guarantee there's something along those lines already out there.
That to me really screams Chuck Tingle for sure. Okay, she says, "You don't scare me, you can't even talk." And then it close-ups on the monster's undulating sponge eye, and he's crying because she's
being
a sore
she's
spot
being real
for
mean.
them. She is.
She's like making fun of his disability or whatever. It's rude.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I would have eaten this little girl like immediately. Just taking like a huge bite out of her fucking head.
She should have got coal in her stocking, to be honest with you.
This monster could have just easily dipped lava out of his head onto her.
Onto her face. Oh, okay. Oh, he looks like an anglerfish. This is where I rate what he looks like. He looks like an anglerfish that's smoking a lot. We already talked about this. She sees that the monster's crying because she literally just made fun of him, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, like of course you can't talk. Like the witch stole your voice. Like what can we do?"
Obviously.
Duh. The monster starts doing charades to try and like. Somehow she deduces that the monster is telling her that he has the witch's magic wand. And with the magic wand, if she says the magic word, then she can get all of their voices back. And so she's like, all right, I'll do it, but I have to be home before Christmas. Okay.
Sure.
So
my parents said I could do whatever I want as long as I'm home by Christmas.
Yeah, literally. So they take hands. She gets her stocking, which, by the way, is like the size of her that she uses as her like travel bag, I guess. And they take hands and they walk outside. I wrote, they climb a hill and sing. She sings a song literally describing the things that are happening, which is that she's got to traverse the landscapes of New Zealand to find the witch's cave.
Been there.
I mean, who hasn't, honestly? There's a weird rat mole thing following them. I think we landed on that he's definitely a mole. He is.
I think so.
Like, how to describe him? He kind of looks like he's wrapped in like the same material that balloons are made out of, and then like painted with black.
Yeah, he's definitely a latex guy.
Yeah, latex. There you go. The more we're talking about this movie, the more like innuendo type stuff is happening. I'm really concerned at this point.
Well,
latex mole man. Yeah. Okay. He's just following. He's like, he's like evil. Every time there's like this like synth music playing, and every time they show him, it's like scallywag music, and he's like running around on all fours.
He runs around like ominous isn't the right word, but he's very like, you could tell he's bad because he's very like stalky and weird, and
he's like dastardly, like,
but he's also for some reason doing like gymnastics while he's doing
it.
There's
There's like one moment where he's like spinning around a fucking tree log like a gymnast, and I was like, what?
It rocks.
Yeah.
What a good character.
Like, what if this guy in real life that plays the mole rat like is a gymnast, and they're like, just do what you do.
I guarantee
it.
He has to be. Like, there's scenes where, like, especially when they're in the witch's lair at the end, that, like, he's
like literally doing somersaults.
Yeah, he's like, like flipping in and out of things, and like he's got to have some sort of like old gym shit in his like his past.
Yeah. So he's following them. It's
okay, so this guy might Well, I mean, Heavenly Creatures isn't necessarily a stunt-filled movie, but he was a stunt double on Heavenly Creatures. So I'm wondering if maybe
Okay.
he's just got like some sort of like, this was like pre-parkour, but like some kind of like shit like
Yeah,
that in
right,
his
right.
background.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
He was
definitely.
in a TV series called Shark in the Park, which
Oh.
I'd
unfortunately
watch
does
that.
not seem to be about sharks. It seems to be
What
about
the
Wait.
hell?
the cops.
Okay, I was gonna say
Ugh.
could be like a predator type situation. Okay, so the little girl and the monster go into a cave that is glowing red, and she retrieves the witch's wand out of a rock. From this point forward, I called it a scepter because it is a scepter. It's not a wand. It's like literally like as tall as the little girl, and it's got like a globe on the top. That was just like a piece of plastic they put glitter on. It's a scepter.
What if it really is a wand, but she's just this small?
Sure, I mean, could be. I don't know. I don't know a lot about New Zealand, so.
Everyone in New Zealand is only like 4 inches tall.
Okay, so this is where it cuts to a new scene, and the little girl is dressed like a nun. She's like wearing a kerchief on her head that has like a medical cross on it, and she's wearing like a little red cape thing. And I was like, what? So they have the scepter now, right? And she's dressed like a nun, and she's hungry, so she's eating chocolate. She offers chocolate to the monster, and he's like, ew. I mean, he can't talk, so he's like, you know? And she's like, what? Monsters don't eat chocolate? What do they eat? So the monster takes A Monster's Christmas, the book, and rips a page out of it and eats it. And she's like, oh, you eat pictures? What a weird fucking thing. And she's like, well, you can't eat this book.
He eats
It was
pictures of flowers.
yeah, it was a Christmas present. And so now she starts to draw pictures of flowers to give to him to eat, which is like such a weird detail. Meanwhile, like as she's drawing the picture for him to eat, the mole man is like tickling the monster. He's like trying to literally reach around the monster to grab the scepter. But the monster is ticklish and he keeps swatting on his hand. And then they notice him and they use magic to catch his butt on fire. And,
Yeah,
and then he's
this
Powerful magic.
I
Yes.
could not tell what was happening with like whatever yellow thing starts growing out of his butt.
I think it was supposed to be fire. And then he's like, yay, yay! And he like scampers away. He goes immediately to the witch's cave, which is at this point literally just a cave with a bed and a Christmas tree in it. And he wakes her up and mimes to her that he has found the scepter. And oh, I was like, what? It goes back to the little girl where she is no longer a nun. She's not dressed as a nun anymore, and she never is for the rest of the movie. So I don't really understand like what was going on there.
Yeah, she quit. She
she's
tried
like,
it
"This
out.
is
It wasn't
hard."
for her.
Yeah. The monster. Okay, so I think basically what happened was the mole man said to the witch like, or mimed to the witch, I found the scepter. She's like, well, go find it, and he scampers off. This is where they go to the edge of the forest, and the monster for some reason is like making the little girl go by herself, and she's like, I have to traverse the forest and climb a mountain and go down a cave by myself, and he's just like, yeah. And so she's like, okay, bye. And she's like really sad about it. Like she's a child, right?
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah. So she goes into the forest. She's walking around. She randomly like trips and falls onto something that ends up being like a bug monster that like starts galloping through the forest. And she's like, hey, stop. I'm trying to help you. And so the monster stops and she falls off and like hits her head. And she says, I want to be a monster too. And then she passes out. The bug monster, this is the scene where like the mole man is hanging from a branch that's like suspended above the air. And he's just like flipping around it and shit, like watching the bug monster like carry the little girl off. She's passed out. And then it cuts to like the little girl is awake and now she's dressed as some kind of like seed pod thing and she's like jumping up and down and playing with the bug monster. So this is what I'm talking about, where like one moment she's passed out and the next minute she's just like woohoo and she's like jumping around and shit. And I was like,
yeah, I need to know like the time span of this movie is that she has to be back by like 3 hours from when she leaves.
Yeah.
Right. Especially because it's nighttime when she's reading to herself and then she wakes up and it's like already daytime. But like, I don't know. The bug creature is like kind of cool because it kind of looks like a praying mantis, but it's like backwards.
Yeah, all the creatures, like the mud creatures are kind of a little bit lazy, I guess, but it's like, I don't know, what are you supposed to do with that idea? But
Yeah.
like that mountain one and this insect one, and then like that weird mole one, they all look very cool.
Yeah, and like they put a lot of effort into them, which is like nice. And so basically,
Imagine
yeah,
how shitty this would look being made now for like kids.
Yeah. So she's jumping around. She's like sort of dressed as a monster now. The bug has like made her part of a costume or whatever. And they're just dancing around. And then the mole man comes and tries to steal the scepter, but the bug gets him and like pushes him into some spider webs and they run away. They get to the edge of the forest and the bug monster sends the little girl on her way. He's like, you have to keep going on by yourself. So, the mole man like immediately escapes and starts chasing the little girl, but then he ends up like falling off of a cliff into a river and is like, blah, 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 blah. Again, for the actor, I feel like terrible wearing that costume and then having to like jump into some water.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Extremely uncomfortable.
So now the little girl is like walking through a like geyser hot spring situation where there's literally like steam coming out of the earth around her, like from the rocks, and there's like bubbling hot springs. And in my mind, I'm like, I feel like this is probably really dangerous to be filming for this little child, but they did it. There's water bubbling everywhere. It's all foggy and shit. And then like there's some conjoined rock mud monster. Like the rock monsters on their own like kind of don't look great, except for the fact that they are there's like two of them and they're conjoined as like one big mud clump, which I guess is like a little unique at least. And it sneaks up on her and steals the scepter, and then she's basically just like, hey, don't do that. I'm trying to get your voices back. I want to be a monster too. And they're like, oh, okay, here you go. And they give it back to her. Then she draws them pictures of flowers to eat. Then there's like this montage of the mud monsters like kind of practicing with her on how to act like a monster. And then they like hold hands and dance around in a circle.
This is the way to act. That's how you act like a monster.
Yeah. It's literally just her like going and like putting up claws and like growling. Then they make her a monster helmet for her head. So now she's wearing like a helmet that's got like spikes and cat ears kind of, and then her body looks like a seed pod, and then her legs are like a monster also. So like really the only thing that's human looking about her is her head and her arms. Like, okay. Okay, so now for some reason, they are by a pool of mud that is bubbling and talking to her. And the mud says, the magic word is like hello, a noisy greeting from below. And immediately I was like, are they talking about a fart?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, this is, God damn it, I can't think of the fucking, the weird
Bog of Eternal
Yeah,
Stench.
Bog of Eternal Stench, but like before.
It's like the Bog of Eternal Stench, but the door knockers, because it's like a riddle, kind of. But yeah, it's literally just like mud bubbles, and it's like, the magic word is like hell, and it's like very weird. So yeah, The magic word is like hello, a noisy greeting from below. And for some reason, and I'm thinking a fart, right?
Hmm.
Right? But immediately she starts just saying hello and below enough times that the words hello and below merge into the word hullabaloo.
I was
Sure.
I was like I must have missed that because like when I got to the end and she's like yelling that, I was like, what?
Yeah. And like it doesn't sound correct unless like I can understand how she got that way. Literally, like she does have an accent, so the way that she's like pronouncing it, I guess you could see how she would get hullabaloo. I don't know, very strange. Then the voice tells her another riddle, which I only wrote down half of, which is above the horse and deep inside. And I was like, girls, we need to write better riddles here because I'm not liking it. It's basically they're like telling her where their voices are being stored, and so she's like, all right. So now the mud monsters send her on her way again. Meanwhile, oh, see, I wrote Fissenduke this time, no T. It is Fissenduke.
Disagree.
The
It's a much
witch.
better name.
Well, Fissenduke, the Christmas witch, is doing witch aerobics in her cave. She's literally she's like watching a tape of like another witch like doing push-ups and then doing jumping jacks, which is really interesting.
It's the workout video I use. That's why I'm in
Yeah,
such good shape.
witch aerobics, it's the best. So while that's happening, also the mole has found the girl again and is chasing her around. She drops the scepter and it breaks. So like the top part with like the sparkles breaks off and he steals just the rod part and runs off. And then the girl screams, "No!" from the mountaintop so loud that all the monsters in the land, which are, the three monsters, hear her and start running to come to her rescue.
Hey,
and I'm like,
all you need-
why didn't you guys?
All you need is 3 monsters.
It's true. Well, technically you get 4, right? Because one of them's the little mud guys. But like, why didn't they just come with her to begin with? Is my question. She's 8. She's, So the mole has. So the witch is like doing some other. Like she's like flipping around on the bar or something, and there's like this upside down shot of the mole just like scamperdoodling and like yip 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 and like jumping up and like clicking his heels together and shit like, and then she's like, oh my gosh, you have it, and then she sings a song where the words are just "give it to me." Like she said, I don't know, she says it like 20 times. She's like, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me.
Pretty good.
And then the music's like beep boom boom boom, and I'm like, all right.
It's very upsetting.
And it's just them doing like imagine at the end of Grease when they're doing that dance together at like the amusement park and they're like doing that choreography. That's like kind of what they're doing, but in a cave around workout equipment from the 80s. So
It's a banger.
I'm gonna draw that.
I'm gonna find this song and put it on like. I'm just gonna like sneak it onto like Caitlin's Christmas music playlist.
Do it.
My favorite Christmas song.
Yeah, give it to me, the best Christmas song.
By Fissenduke the Christmas Witch. This is when she does end up getting like the scepter from him, but she realizes that the top is missing, and that's the part that is the magic, of course. So she's like, "You fucking idiot! Like, go find it." And he scamperdoos off. So the girl, like, realizes that she's lost the scepter, but she wanders into the witch's cave anyway. And Fissenduke like immediately finds her, but because she's like dressed up in this costume, she thinks that she is a baby monster, and she's like, monsters are so big and ugly and stupid. You're okay. You're not that ugly, and you're not very big. And she's just like talking about and then the little girl is pretending like she can't talk either. And the witch is like, great, I love it that you can't talk, but you know what you can do? Work. She also like tickles her
Well,
with a feather duster.
yeah, so witches
She's
do.
like, do you know what I love to do to monsters? And she tickles them, and then she's like, oh, I love that. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. She's got a tickle fetish, I guess. And she's like, you can do some chores. You can dust and shit and get ready for Christmas, right? And meanwhile, the girl has like spotted the rod of the scepter or whatever. And then Fisenduke is like, oh, I don't want you to faint while you're doing all these chores for me. So here, let me draw you some food. So she draws her pictures of flowers, and then the little girl has to pretend to eat them. Well, she does actually put the piece of paper in her mouth.
It's so funny. Like, this piece of paper, like, balled up for some reason, is like half the size of her head. And she just, like, crams into her mouth and is supposed to, like, try to, like, I mean, obviously he doesn't do it for real, but it's, like, supposed to look like she swallowed it, but it's so big.
Yeah. So now the witch is like humming Christmas songs while the little girl is like dusting and shit. And the witch makes a comment that she wants her to polish the horse. And she's talking about a like pole vaulting thing that like gymnasts do tricks on and shit. And she's like, oh, the horse. And she like looks at it, and then she remembers the riddle where it says above or below the horse or some shit. And so then she looks up and sees that there's a huge ladder on the side of like going up the cave, and there's like red light coming from this like cave that's up there. And she's like, oh shit, that must be where the voices are. And the witch is like, what are you looking at? You know, she's a witch. The mole comes in and mimes to Fisenduke that the monsters are coming, and that the little girl is actually a human. She's not a monster. And this is the scene where the monsters are literally like rolling and falling down a steep hill. It goes on for kind of a while. It's pretty funny. So it's like they like flip over to like the witch and the mole like chasing the little girl around exercise equipment. Between that and like the monsters falling, and the monsters are just like woo woo woo, like tumbling down a steep hill. It's unhinged.
Seems dangerous.
I hope they must have signed waivers or something about getting hurt, because there's no way.
It was the
said,
80s. Nobody gave a fuck.
I mean, that's true. That's fair. The the mountain monster guy is like smoking out his head the whole time, and I'm like, there's no way somebody didn't get hurt in this situation. Also, the costumes like held together really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wonder.
You gotta give them props.
I wonder if this was
Very
like
sturdy.
the last thing they filmed.
I would.
Yeah.
I would say that, and the mole jumping into the water.
Yeah.
Like
it has to
they're
be.
like, okay, these are gonna be destroyed, so let's just do this last. Yeah. Yeah, they're tumbling down, running down that hill, as
Running
Kate
down that
Bush
hill.
loves to say. Yeah, this is what she was talking about. She was talking about Christmas, Monsters
God, that would
Christmas.
be amazing.
I think it, like, re-listen to it. I think so.
Someone should interview her and ask her about this.
Yeah. I know she pretended that she didn't know what hills were and that she's never run up one, but, like, obviously she was talking about the monsters, not her. So, what if this was, like, an autobiography of her childhood? Like, this is what happened, and then she wrote the song about it.
I believe it.
Yeah. Okay, so the witch and the mole, we're moments from being done. The witch and the mole are chasing the little girl around the cave. The girl ends up grabbing the scepter, like it's like just in a bag, and she pulls it out and tries to do magic, but then she realizes that like the end of the scepter's missing, so it doesn't work. This is part I don't really understand. The mole is like doing somersaults toward the girl. There's like this long strip of carpet down the middle of the cave, and he's like literally doing that thing that gymnasts do where they just like somersault all the way down. And he's like flipping and shit. And right as he's about to get to the little girl, the witch literally pulls the rug so that the mole man like trips and falls and it knocks him out. And I was like, why does she not, like, what's going on here? And then she just like confronts the little girl about like, you came into my cave and you were trying to steal something, so you're a thief and that's not okay. And I'm like, okay, you stole their voices, but go off. And this is when the rest of the monsters arrive. They put the scepter back together. The witch, for some reason, literally just faints. Like, nothing happens. She faints.
Wouldn't you if you saw all these monsters?
I guess. Like, I don't really understand, like, what's going on with the witch and the monsters that, like, she just, like, didn't like their singing. I don't know. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Same.
Yeah. They sounded better before they got their voices back.
Yeah, she took the voices away for a reason.
One of them is like...
What if they were just constantly standing outside her room, singing Silent Night endlessly?
Actually, they probably were, like, literally coming to her cave and singing, and she's just like, for fuck's sake, please stop. I hate it. And she's like actually not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
She's the hero, and this little girl is the bad guy. It's like Wicked. This is what Wicked was based off of, if you ask me. Yeah, okay, so the witch faints. Then all of a sudden the little girl is just climbing the ladder. I'm like not kidding. They're in the earth. They're like in a cave. And she is climbing a ladder to heaven. It is like the longest ladder I've ever seen in my life. And you're watching this little girl climb the ladder, and I'm like, how are they letting her do this? Again, she's like 10 maybe, 8 or 10. She's so small, and she's climbing this ladder that's like the size of a building. So she climbs to the top and then looks down into a precipice that like goes down to the center of the fucking earth. I was like, this movie is a nightmare. This is so scary. She looks down into the cave and yells, "Hullabaloo!" into the cave. And it echoes back at her or whatever. Yeah, so if you didn't like catch that part of her figuring out the word earlier, like I feel like this would be so confusing.
I was just like, I don't know why this is
Hullabaloo is such a weird word.
I was like, this makes sense with the rest of the movie, so I'll go with it.
I made it fair. So she yells down into it. She stands up. She's on the top of the ladder. She looks straight at the camera and goes, "Silent Night." And I was like, girl, no, what? Immediately starts singing Silent Night. She is climbing back down the ladder. The monsters are looking up at her, and then they also start singing Silent Night in voices. One of them is like very clearly like an opera singer. They're like so, well, I'm not an opera singer, but his voice is so deep and loud, and they're just singing Silent Night. As she climbs down the ladder, she gets down to the bottom, she turns to them and starts like orchestra conducting them, like with her arms. She's like motioning to them, and I was like, what is happening here? Randomly, so they stand in a circle around the mole and the witch who have been passed out, right? They immediately wake up and just start also singing Silent Night. They just join in the chorus. The witch, to be fair, does look a little like, she's like, what's going on? Like, I'm just going to go with it because nobody seems to be mad at me.
Please donate me.
Literally, yeah. She looks a little sus, but she starts singing also. They're singing Silent Night. And then all of a sudden, the little girl wakes up in bed. Having maybe it was just a dream, right? You think she's fallen asleep reading A Monster's Christmas. She gets up. It's morning. She runs into the living room, and there's presents. Father Christmas has come. She goes, and she, again, no parents, just starts opening presents by herself. And outside the door, you see the monsters slowly walk into like the doorway and sing. They're still singing Silent Night, probably. Then, as the monsters are like walking away into the sunset, Christmas morning
still
or whatever,
singing Silent Night.
the little girl pulls the Monsters Christmas book out of her stocking and opens it, and we see that the pages are still destroyed from when Mountain Monster ate it, so we know it's not a dream. And then she turns over her shoulder and looks right at the camera and smiles. It's the end.
I do not blame this witch. If these monsters were singing Silent Night at me all the time, I would fucking lose my mind.
She's just like trying to like exercise, and like I will say like her hair was pretty cool. It was like straight up in a point like a cone head, and then it had this like green streak through it, and she had like makeup for days. Like she was really just trying to live her life. And these fucking monsters wouldn't stop singing Christmas probably all year long, to be honest with you. They're all year they're outside her door
would
singing
do worse
Silent
than
Night.
take their voice if that was like if I had to hear this shit at like honestly I don't even want to hear it in December, so like any other time I used to work with somebody that like it would be like July and they would pull like a Bluetooth speaker at work and just start blasting Christmas music, and I was like, I'm going to murder you.
Off.
Literally, I'm going to murder you.
Yeah, no. I very much enjoy and like Christmas in December. Like I will listen to Christmas music, but I don't want to hear a peep of it outside of like December. I don't want to hear it before, and I don't want to hear it after. The day after Christmas, I'm like fucking done. I'm like, I don't want to hear this for another year. I also don't like I find singing this is gonna sound very strange, but I find singing very awkward. Like I very obviously don't really like musicals. Like there's some musicals that I like, but if I'm just like watching something normal and people just like break into song, I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
Well, if it's Bob's Burgers though.
Don't do this.
Sometimes with Bob's Burgers, I like it if it makes sense. It's when there's just singing for no reason that I don't like. Like, I like the singing at the end of the episodes. Obviously, I love the singing. Like, it just has to make sense in the context of it, right? Like, sometimes I don't like it. But,
January, musical month on I Hope You Suffer.
No, I can't. I can't. I cannot.
We're going to do Repo the Genetic Opera.
But
oh god.
although I do like the idea of like a weird musical, like the Alien one speaks, like I want that, like it speaks to me. But like anyways, that was like a very roundabout way to say that like I have never actually experienced Christmas carolers. I feel I would hate it. Like
yeah, I hope I never do.
I would throw so much shit at them. If that happened.
Right. It's like people that you don't know that just like show up on they trespass onto your property and then they sing at you. To me, that sounds like a nightmare. I would be like, no, you need to please leave. Please leave right now. So I don't blame her. I'm on the witch's side.
I am not one for calling the police, but if you come caroling by my house,
that is the one time I will call them, please. Yeah, normally ACAB, but when carolers, please come remove them. Anyways, that was the Christmas monster. Wait, A Monster's Christmas.
Go watch it on YouTube and apparently Tubi.
I did watch it on Tubi, and when the movie very first started, I was like, please God, I hope there's subtitles, and there are. I think the quality's not bad on Tubi, and there actually, for whatever reason, wasn't that many commercials, so it was like very watchable.
I felt like I saw it was on Tubi, and I was like, this is only like 47 minutes. I don't want to sit through like 12 minutes of commercials as well.
A bunch of commercials
on YouTube.
Yeah, I felt like it, for whatever reason, wasn't that bad. I don't know. Sometimes it really stands out and is hard. Maybe it's just because the movie was so short. I didn't notice it as much, but
yeah, it was a banger. I like this one.
I feel like I don't really know how I feel about it. Like,
I mean, like, it's not something I'm like probably going to like rewatch a bunch.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the Christmas shit we've done, pretty great. Like, I feel like past the first year of Christmas movies, when we did like the Jack Frost movies, Better Watch Out and Santa's Sleigh. I'm gonna keep Mother Krampus out of that because that was terrible.
Hey, leave Mother Krampus alone.
But like those were fun, and then I feel like everything after that, with the exception of like Santa Jaws, was like terrible.
Yeah, that's fair. I have a bunch on my list I'm gonna try and get to. I haven't really watched literally like anything because I've been so busy. Um, but I do have some like really weird looking stuff on my watch
I
list.
take it back.
So we'll see.
Elves, Christmas Evil, Bloodbeat, Christmas Twister was a pretty fun. That's a good run that year.
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking mostly like last year or whatever when we did like American
Yeah.
Exorcist and that fucking that one I
Yeah.
picked that was like people in like a fucking apocalypse or whatever.
Oh my God, yeah. Last year was a little rough, I would say. I will say, I do have a uh I'll share it. I do have a playlist on Spotify that is obviously like Shark Week because we've got like 20 Shark Week episodes I have specifically, and then I do have a playlist of just our Christmas episodes if anybody like missed them or wants to listen to them. We did, yeah. Oh my God, The Killing Tree. Remember that one?
Oh
Unfortunately.
God.
Oh yeah, we did
So
that
we
fucking
did,
weird housebound SOV movie. It was
yeah, and then we did I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, which is the one you picked. Whatever the fourth one was, I haven't added yet, but
Gremlins. I don't remember if Gremlins was a
I don't
bonus
think we did
episode. We
Gremlin.
did. It's on like the list. It
No,
may have been a
I
bonus episode.
I think it's a bonus episode. And then we did Break, and for some reason, I'm gonna blame Kit for this one. Maybe this week we're standing ranch milk.
That sounds like me.
I have no
Ranch milk.
ranch milk sounds familiar, but at this point, I have no concept for like what the hell we would
I
have been
feel
talking
like
about.
somebody was talking about
Was
they
it
had
milk
a
from a ranch, or was it like mixing up
no.
ranch and milk?
Yes, it was ranch dressing flavored milk, and I feel like maybe somebody had a dream
Yeah.
about it or something, and it was probably you. Then we have Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 the year before, where you can hear that stray cat screaming at me because I was recording in a garage at the time. That was fun. Blood, yeah. I feel like half of the year before, and then last year was like a little rough. The Killing Tree was the one where that lady resurrected
The
her
tree
like
comes to life or
murderer.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tree dad, tree
Tree,
parents.
tree dad.
Like a good
Fucking awful movie.
good premise that was just like a bad movie.
Not done well, yeah. This week we're staying in Slurpee veins. Anyways, we've got a Christmas
Hell's wrong with
list
us.
here. I don't know, and I'll share it too on my story or whatever. But yeah, woof.
Remember the elf?
I do actually. I was like looking through all of the. I will never forget that one for one specific thing that we talked about, and I actually saw it like when I was looking through movies today. I might watch A Christmas Karen to be transparent. I saw it on there and it made me laugh because there was that there was that scene where the main character guy was like taking a shower and then he like fell on the floor and you guys were talking about his wiener being like sentiently floppy or something. And I remember you have to go back and listen to it. I just remember that it made me laugh so hard, and I've never been able to get that out of my head, and I hate it so
That doesn't
much.
sound like something Kit and I would talk
Yeah.
about.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember that scene and that sounds extremely on brand. That's immediately where Kit and I would go.
Definitely.
But I don't remember. Like, I couldn't tell you like how that came about.
Well, it definitely happened.
Someone I follow gave Christmas Karen 4 stars. That's upsetting.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna
I mean,
watch
they
it.
gave Christmas Karen a higher rating than Night of the Comet. So,
Oh no,
oh god,
I don't
they
think
got
so.
they got Eli Roth's Thanksgiving in their favorites. I might have to unfollow this person.
Oh no.
Yeah, that sounds bad to me.
All right. Did you look up any news, Katie?
I did, but I didn't really see
Yeah, I
anything.
didn't either. All right. Katie, what'd you watch this week? What'd you watch since Thursday? Whatever day we recorded.
I literally only watched this movie. I don't think I even watched TV
What about you, Kit?
at all.
I watched the new Godzilla movie 3 hours ago.
Is it a banger?
Oh yeah, it fucking rocks. It's so good.
I feel like pretty much nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, well deserved.
Hell yeah. I think the only thing I watched was I drove like 5 hours round trip to go see Saint Drogo in a theater.
Hell yeah.
Mostly just to go meet Brandon and the rest of those dudes. And it was a fun time.
That
There
rocks.
was a very drunk older lady that was, I think, confused about how gay sex works. And
Yeah,
like,
it sounds
Oh,
like
no.
it to me.
so
Based off of
there was like, so I think with it was this place that like was a restaurant that had a movie screen that like they would do. I think it sounded like once a month they just do like every the third Friday of every month or whatever it would have been. Like they do a random horror movie screening, and so
Yeah.
it sounds like it's a thing where people just come out, no matter what's playing, and
regardless
just
of
like
what
yeah.
it is.
And so,
Yeah.
like, a lot of the people there, I don't think had any, like, concept of what this was, or, like, Death Drop Gorgeous, or anything like that. They were just coming to see a movie. And so there was this lady who was, like, I don't know, maybe, like, in her 60s. That was, like, you could, like, progressively getting drunker throughout the night. And so by the time I
Yeah.
got to the Q&A, like, she just kept, like, asking questions that were like extremely absurd, but at one point was like, during the sex scenes I was very confused about like some of the positions and like the logistics of this. Would like you guys be able to sort of like recreate this on stage? And you could tell everyone got real uncomfortable.
That is so.
The fuck?
What a gross thing to ask.
And so, like,
strangers too.
Like, and she she kept joking around about how like her real life name is Karen. And like all the shit. And I was
Oh,
like,
no.
every time she talked, Caitlin just shot me these like glances, like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, that's wild.
And luckily, like the guy that was there that like put on the screening was just like, "All right, I think we should like
No
let
more."
these guys go and sell some merch and get out of here."
I think we should let these guys leave you, get out of your
It
clutches.
was just, it was just funny because like some of the questions were like so strange, or like shit were like someone would be like, "What kind of lenses did you guys use on your cameras?" And they're like, "I don't know. I was not the cameraman." But it was fun. Meeting Brandon was extremely cool. I think it was very funny because like halfway on the drive there, like I said, it was like over 5 hours, like round trip. Caitlin was like, in like a month they're gonna announce like a New Jersey screening like 20 minutes from
Yeah.
us. And so we were talking to Brandon and he was like, yeah, he's like, I think like January something we're gonna be in like Red Bank, New Jersey. And I was like, God damn it. So I think I'm gonna go like hang out with him whenever they're here for that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I got us each copies of his book that technically is not released yet. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
gotta get those fucking
literally
out soon.
so excited to read it. It was like one of my most anticipated reads for this year, but then obviously it got pushed back or whatever. So
Yeah, like we got there and as like we got there a little early so we could eat because like we looked ahead and they had like vegan options and shit. So we were like, yeah, we'll go like a little early and eat before the movie. And so like we walk in and we're getting seated and I happen to just look up and it was like Brandon, Mikey, and Wayne, and maybe someone else I forget. But at least they were there. Brandon was like, "Oh shit, what's up?" And came over and like gave me a hug and just like handed me this thing in like a burlap sack, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't know what this is." And so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go in here and like make sure everything's set up." And Caitlin and I sat down to eat, and I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my god, it's the book!"
the
I was
book.
like, "Hell yes!" So.
Like I love that it was in a sack too, like contraband. Like
Well, that like so he had like soft or like not I guess it is. Would it just be soft cover?
Yeah, the soft version of it.
And then like hardcovers.
Paperback?
Yeah, paperback. That was the
Yeah.
Sorry, I told you I'm probably still high.
That's okay, because I think it harkens perfectly back to the conversation we had earlier. Do you want a soft or hard version of your book? Like,
so he had paperback, hardcover, and then he had these ones that were like the hardcover and like wrapped up in this like a burlappy sack thing with like I think they're like autographed too, and just had like whatever in it. So that's like one of the ones he handed me, and I was like, "Oh shit, hell yeah!" So
very cool.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
It was fun. It was a good day. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the only thing I watched. Just like I said earlier, Katie and I recorded like 2 or 3 days ago. I've just been working.
I literally already forgot what we recorded. It was Good Burger 2.
Yeah. Mediocre
So
classic
technically-
Good Burger 2.
Yes. So technically, I watched that twice, and that's been the only thing that I watched. But
Kit, when you watch Good Burger 2?
I thought about it last week because I had subscribed to Paramount,
Yeah.
and I was like, Good Burger 2.
it's fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's not like it's a little underwhelming compared to the first one, but like
Would you say it's undercooked?
yeah,
Yes.
it's a little.
It's
a little
a
under.
little medium rare. Yeah. To surmise our like hour and a half episode, like
It was almost 2 hours.
to our 2 hour episode. Minus us ranting about how streaming services sucked, because that probably went on for forever. We basically were like, it was fine. Like, they didn't need to make it, but like we enjoyed the nostalgic parts of it, essentially. Yeah. So if you just like threw it on in the background, I think it's fine.
I think the best part was discovering that in 1998 someone wrote a sequel novel.
Oh, yeah.
That deals with like Ed discovering like a kid, like somehow getting like mixed up in a kidnapping plot. I was like, hell yeah.
That's incredible.
So now
is that not what the movie is?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
The movie is essentially the plot to the first one. But now it's just like updated where someone's trying to like
everyone's fucking 50 years old.
Well, it's like like instead of somebody trying to like, I don't know, I forget why the person was trying to shut down the Good Burger in the first one, but this one is like the sister of the person from the first one, and then she is like shuts down the Good Burger to create her own mega Good Burgers where everything's like automated, so there's like no actual workers, which is like good social like commentary. But I was like Katie was just pointed out, she's just like, yeah, this is the exact same plot from the first one.
Yeah, new burger joint comes in, and
but there's
old-fashioned Good Burger's gonna shut down.
There's some like genuinely good jokes in it, but it's just like it's one of those things that like as I was watching it, I was like, I don't hate this. I don't really like it either. It's just kind of like a thing that exists.
Yeah,
there's a pretty great like diners, drive-ins, and dives sort of fake show in the movie. That's pretty fun, but yeah, I mean, I think it's worth watching.
They just like the new Star Wars trilogy, Good Burger.
Well, there's already like a third one, I guess, in the works, at least according to Letterboxd. Like, I guess they may
why not?
But, and if they don't do this, I'm gonna be pissed. At the end of the movie, Kel jokes about Good Burger 3. We're going to space. So
it better be in
if
space.
It's not space, I'm gonna be so mad.
I'll watch 2 just to get the numbers up so we can get Good Burger in space.
Okay, good idea.
All right, Katie, shout out.
No.
All right, Kit.
Space Burger.
Yeah. Hell of a drive-through to get to.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Every time I'm always like, I have a shout out planned, and then I'm like, wait, what is it?
I just didn't do anything
Zach
in the past, like whatever days.
Zach Baggins. It's Katie's shout out.
No. Anti-shout out, Zach Baggins.
Katie's hero, Zachy B. All I've been listening to is QAnon Anonymous. Catching up on that.
Back in the trenches.
Yeah, it's brutal. Everything's the worst.
Yeah.
A bad time. Although, actually, shout out. Henry Kissinger died. Goodbye.
Yeah, finally.
Take Mitch McConnell, please. Make him next.
Yeah, right?
R.I.P. We stand a king.
Just leave it in silence. Everyone's confused.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Bozo.
Okay, I will shout out. The only thing I did was I ate something new.
Don't tell anybody what it is. Just leave it at that.
Mega ham.
I ate a new thing. Yeah. It is
Have you
Cinnamon
guys heard
Toast
of
Crunch.
mac and cheese?
Oh my god! Don't even.
Macaroni?
Yeah.
It's called Swiss cheese. No. They came out with a gingerbread.
Gingerbread cheese?
Ew. Oh, you know what? Not gingerbread, but Aldi. I don't know if everybody has Aldi. It's just a grocery store, like a quote unquote budget grocery store.
Pretty all over the place.
I knew that there wasn't anywhere I lived in California, but we do have them on the East Coast definitely. But they put out like really crazy cheeses, and they did a goat log, and one of them was eggnog flavored, which to me, like, no thank you, because I don't like eggnog. But I did get their stuffing and cranberry goat cheese for Thanksgiving, and it was so good. Oh, I know what my shout out is. I went to Buc-ee's this week, and like, can you ever just like, you can't really ever say enough good things about Buc-ee's. So I got a Santa Buc-ee and like a bunch of stuff. But oh no, I had a gingerbread flavored Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I'm not like a super big fan of gingerbread, like hard gingerbread cookies in general, but the cereal's pretty good. So
cereal's doing too much now.
Cereal's doing a lot. They also have a sugar cookie Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which they came out with before that I've had, which is fine.
So sweet.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I liked about this gingerbread one, is that it's more of just like the ginger and molasses essence, but still regular Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which Cinnamon Toast Crunch is one of my favorites. So I don't know, I still liked it. So shout out cereal.
Shout out eating a thing you haven't eaten before, I guess.
Yeah. Shout out to eating food, the only good thing left in the world.
It's pretty fair. All right, next week, Ernest Saves Christmas. The only good non-monster filled Christmas movie.
We'll see.
Oh, yeah, there's no monsters in that. I had to think for a minute. No, Katie's gonna hate it probably. We'll see. You might. See. I feel like you'll be like ambivalent to it at most, but
yeah, I feel like
Ernest.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the Halloween one, but I feel like I have a lot more like lax feelings towards Christmas stuff. Like you could show me the dumbest Christmas thing, and I'll still be like, that's pretty good. Oh, actually, speaking of, I did watch something. I didn't finish it though. They came out with a, obviously the movie The Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. That there's like 4 movies now or something. They came out with like a TV show.
Yeah, starring the super canceled guy because he wasn't in the Lightyear movie, but somehow managed to get a fucking entire TV series on Disney Plus.
Which is like really wild to me. And so I kind of like threw that on in the background. And the show itself is like not great, but I do like some of the stuff that they're doing with the plot. How
much does Santa talk about adrenochrome in it?
Surprisingly, not at all.
Is he narking on his coke dealer every other episode?
Yeah, pretty much. So
that would be incredible.
A lot of insider information. Yeah. I don't know. Not great.
I don't think I ever saw any of the original ones, so no thank you. If it's not Kurt Russell playing Santa Claus, I do not care.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, not ever have I ever been really a big fan of him, but he is in a lot of that kind of stuff. And like the original Santa Claus movie was like a huge part of my childhood, and it was one of my favorite like Christmas movies that I would watch every year. And like, of course, now it's like a little bit ruined, and I'm kind of sad. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
It is what it is.
Ernest Saves Christmas is like the only non-horror-esque Christmas movie I actually give a shit about. So I do not like Christmas. Well, I take it back. That weird KFC Mario Lopez one.
Oh, I never got to see that, actually. I need to...
That one's good because it's only like 15 minutes long.
Yeah. I need to see if I can watch it somewhere. There's some really, really fucking... I was like looking through Just Tubi earlier, and there's some really fucking weird Christmas movies.
Yeah. Like Hallmark and Lifetime just going off all year so they could release fucking 30 Christmas movies in December.
Pretty much.
Like...
I love any of the ones that will star like randomly like people like Tia Mowry and like a bunch of them, and Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens?
Yeah, Hudgens.
You guys know who I'm talking about. She's in one that I actually really like. That's like, because it's so fucking weird. It's like this knight from like medieval times gets like transported into like now, and then she like falls in love with him. It's very weird and dumb. But see, that's why I'm like, maybe I will like the Ernest. I think I will really stretch my imagination a lot for Christmas movies. So
I mean,
good news for Ernest.
Yeah. He'll get in my graces.
Yeah, it's on probably just Disney Plus. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure if that shit's been sold off to anyone else yet or not. From Zaslav. Just apparently just be like, fuck it, have the rights to all of our shit. Yeah. Christmas. Bad time.
It says... yeah. It says that well, according to Google, it might also be on Amazon Prime. But...
maybe.
I don't know for sure.
For some reason, like, the Ernest movies just hop around like the fucking Stephen King movies.
Yeah.
Alright. If you'd like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/hypestuffpodcast. Like I said, Popstar coming soon. Possibly a very stupid Christmas idea Katie and I had coming soon. Katie and I are going to start Chris Kattanmas.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
Yes. Mostly it's just going to be us talking about how Night at the Roxbury is the only good movie ever made. Hot take.
That's Monkey Bone Erasure.
We're also doing Monkey Bone, so...
I don't think I've actually seen Monkey Bone, so I can't really confirm or deny yet. So...
I thought we did Monkey Bone for an episode.
We talked about it, but it was like never streaming anywhere. It was like Airheads. I feel like we talked about doing Airheads forever.
Yeah.
And Airheads is streaming.
Yeah,
now.
anytime
it's on Hulu.
Anytime it would pop up. I'm like, all right, we'll do that in like a week, and it would just like disappear completely.
It's gone. Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah. I don't know why. There's like certain movies like that just do that, where like it'll stream for like 3 weeks a year, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Patreon. You can buy merch at our storefront tier shop. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. Follow Kit and Hidden.
Send us any interviews that you find with guns or sharks.
Explaining themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your deal?
What if it's a shark holding a gun being interviewed?
Even better.
So in.
Yeah.
Someone should just...
I need to know.
Someone make one of these shark movies. It's just like a shark robbing banks.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure
seems like a no-brainer.
I'm sure there's some kind of shark pun title out there with that, so... Just... Come on, sci-fi. What is sci-fi...
Don't let us down.
What is sci-fi doing right now? I feel like I haven't heard anything about like a sci-fi original movie in a minute.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Let's see. Like Shark Storm.
All right, I'm in.
Of course, I clicked on Shark Storm, and it's just there's nothing about it. It just came up with a bunch of general bad sci-fi movies. Let's see. Let's look at the. Oh, this is not helpful. It's just a list. Come on.
Shark Storm movie.
Ghost Storm. I'm in. That's 2011. I'm gonna have to look up sci-fi shark movies. We got to get into some of these again. I feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah.
I want to see what's actually new. Because everything on these lists is just like 2011, when it was still good. You can follow Hidden Kids to Kitchenification of Blood. Kid, have you listened to Andre 3000's ambient album yet? Or like flute album?
No, I keep meaning to.
I wondered what you thought. It's very good.
Yeah, it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Like, oh, absolutely.
What a fucking awesome way to get everyone fucking excited and then just really fucking let down like half your audience, but then everyone else is very stoked. Like Andre 3000's first album in like however long coming back, and everyone's like fuck yeah, and then it's just like this weird ambient flute album, like new age flute
2
album.
2 hours ambient flute.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
You can follow Katie at WerewolfFace and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast, AK Movie Club. All right, Ernest Saves Christmas next week, featuring the greatest Christmas song ever. Which is just Ernest singing what song is it? I think it's "Oh Christmas Tree," but the only lines he knows is "Oh Christmas Tree," so he keeps repeating them to the melody of
Perfect.
What a king. All right, I hope you did not hear any of our opening conversation, but why?
Yeah, I have a reputation to keep.
Yeah, I read smut to feel things.
Fist and Do Christmas coming soon.
I feel like that's gonna have to be some kind of weird crossover with Duke from Carousel.
I mean, it could be.
Ugh, upsetting.